I still remember the day people laughed at us. It was during our senior year in college. Me, a lanky, introverted black girl from Detroit, and him, a white, tattooed, rough-around-the-edges mechanic from rural Kentucky. Everyone said our friendship was strange, mismatched, even suspicious. But none of them were there in that hospital room, years later, when he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're not dying." Not on my watch. I already signed the papers. That's when I knew some bonds are deeper than blood. We met at the community garden project, of all places. I was trying to earn extra credit for a social work course. He, Jake, had been sentenced to community service after a bar fight. From the minute we were paired to tend the tomato patch, it was clear we couldn't have been more different. He grunted more than he talked. I talked to keep from crying, trying to process my mother's recent death from liver cancer and the loneliness that came with it. Jake, it turned out, was grieving too. His little brother had died of an overdose a year prior. We didn't speak about our pain directly at first, but in those long hours under the sun, kneeling in dirt, we found a rhythm. Silence turned to casual chatter. Chatter turned to real talk. One day, he said, "You don't have to pretend you're okay." I didn't. Neither did he. And that was the beginning. Over the next few years, our friendship became a constant. Jake showed up at my graduation even though he hated crowds. I helped him set up his mobile auto repair business. He showed up when my car broke down in the rain. I showed up when his dad passed and he broke down in the garage. We were inseparable, but not romantically. People didn't get that. Our classmates whispered, "Is he your boyfriend or your bodyguard?" A few coworkers even pulled me aside to ask if I was safe with him. His friends teased him, called him Captain Save-A-Girl. It didn't matter. We shrugged it off. What we had didn't need to be explained. Then, 3 years ago, I collapsed in the hallway of my office. Stage 4 kidney failure. No warning. No family left to turn to. Dialysis 3 times a week. My life shrank into tubes, numbers, and waiting lists. I still remember sitting on the edge of my hospital bed, staring at a clipboard full of transplant requirements I couldn't meet. I didn't qualify for living donors because I had no immediate relatives. That night, Jake showed up with a backpack, a 6-pack of my favorite iced tea, and his goofy old hoodie that I always stole. "You're moving in with me," he said. "And I'm getting tested." I didn't believe him. I told him it was a waste. The odds were slim. I didn't want him to go through the pain if it didn't work out. "I don't care," he said. "I'd give you both kidneys if it came to that." It turned out we were a match. The doctors were stunned. The social worker kept asking if we were romantically involved, like that would justify his sacrifice. Jake laughed. "Nope. Just soul friends." He donated me his kidneys 6 weeks later. I remember the recovery room. My body was sore but warm. Alive. He was lying in the bed next to mine, pale and smiling. "See," he said, weakly. "Now you've got a piece of Kentucky inside you." We both laughed until it hurt. The same people who mocked our friendship were now sharing our story on Facebook, calling it inspirational. The whispers stopped. Some apologized. Some said we should write a book. We didn't care. Jake went back to fixing cars, and I eventually returned to social work. But things were different now. We gave talks at schools about organ donation, friendship, and grief. Kids, especially those who didn't feel like they fit in, came up after to say, "I never knew friendship could be like that." Last year, I married a wonderful man. Jake stood next to me as my man of honor. At the reception, he gave a speech. "I've always believed God puts the right people in our path, sometimes looking nothing like what we expect. I met my best friend in a garden, when both our lives were covered in weeds. And now look." He paused, choked up. I cried openly. "I gave her a kidney," he said, "but she gave me a reason to believe people can change, can heal, can grow." To this day, Jake and I talk every morning. Even if it's just, "You good, and yeah, you?" People don't laugh anymore. They just listen. And sometimes, they cry. Because now they understand true friendship doesn't care about color, background, or blood. Sometimes, the person who saves your life isn't the one you were born with. Sometimes, they show up in the dirt beside you, hand you a tomato, and say, you don't have to pretend anymore. And sometimes, they give you a kidney. Just because they love you.